So then what lies ahead? Erickson speaks of 18 to 35 as the stage of intimacy versus isolation, and 35 to 55, or for the late bloomers, 65, as generativity versus self-absorption. But now, as that age of careers fades, and we've dealt with midlife crisis issues, or at least some of us, and experience a profound denial and negation that we confuse with empowerment and autonomy, that brings us to the last stage, stage 8, integrity versus despair. The Army values define integrity as doing the right thing. Now that's a very stage 4 or 7 definition, which is to be expected, but it's really much more than that. And doing the right thing is merely a manifestation of having integrity. Erickson felt that most of life is preparing for the middle adulthood stage, having to do with successful careers and raising a family and passing on values. He saw the last stage as a matter of recovering from it. As older adults, we can often look back at our lives with happiness and we're content, feeling fulfilled with a deep sense that life has had meaning, and we've made a contribution. And it is this feeling that Erickson calls integrity. On the other hand, some adults reach this stage in despair at their experiences and perceived failures. They may fear death as they struggle to find a purpose to their lives, wondering, was the trip worth it? Or alternatively, they may feel that they have all the answers, actually revisiting adolescence, and they end with a strong dogmatism that only their view has been correct. But integrity is a sense of peace, a valuing, and a oneness with the universe, its creator, ourselves, our fellow mankind, even that part that disagrees with us, and life, and a oneness with eternity. Our strength comes from a wisdom that the world is very large, and we now have a detached concern for the whole of life, accepting death as a completion of the life, while hoping and trusting in something or someone bigger than ourselves, so that even after this life, something of value remains and nothing is truly lost or wasted. If we haven't already experienced it in the context of a religious new birth experience, it's our chance to reform our ego, our sense of self, no longer built on self-justification, ignorance through negation and denial, or no, you can't make me, but rather on yes. I believe, yes, I accept. Yes, it's good. Even in the face of death and end of this life, for those we knew and loved, and for ourselves, we can say, yes, I trust, yes, I believe. The significant relationship is with all humankind as my kind, and our Creator as the source of life and hope and peace and love, forgiveness and redemption, even from ourselves and our own failures. And so as we begin this stage and live it every day until our work is done, our course on earth is run, may it be said, well done, be thou at peace. Serve with integrity. And to guide us on this path, could there be a more fitting chart than that expressed in the prayer that we learned here in this place 44 years ago, the cadet prayer? It begins with a humble recognition of our dependence, our faith, and our need for integrity. O God, our Father, thou searcher of men's, women's, all hearts, help us to draw near to thee in sincerity and truth. In a world that has so many adherents to belief systems that oppress and stifle, it asks, may our religion be filled with gladness, and may our worship of thee be natural. In a world where the day-to-day business of political, financial, and celebrity icons, leaders, and practice is all about spin, smoke, and mirrors, it asks for the intervention and guidance of God's Holy Spirit to strengthen and increase our admiration for for honest dealing and clean thinking, and suffer not our hatred of hypocrisy and pretense ever to diminish. And in the face of pressures to go along with the party line or just quietly go out to pasture, it says, encourage us in our endeavor to live above the common level of life. Make us to choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. And never to be content with a half-truth when the whole can be won. Endow us with courage that is born of loyalty to all that is noble and worthy, that scorns to compromise with vice and injustice and knows no fear when truth and right are in jeopardy. In a society where those who would stand up for faith and traditional values are derided, it has to guard us against flippancy and irreverence in the sacred things of life. And in a culture of me first, get what you can, while you can, and others deserve what they get, grant us new ties of friendship and new opportunities of service. Kindle our hearts in fellowship with those of a cheerful countenance, and soften our hearts with sympathy for those who sorrow and suffer. Serve with integrity. Class assembly. And so in this last stage of life, though not our last stage, there remains for us a duty to fulfill. Serve with integrity. There remains a way to live a life of honor. Serve with integrity. And there remains a way to do our part to preserve a country that struggles to live up to its motto and identity as one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all people. Serve with integrity. It's not just a motto. It's a daily challenge for us for as long as we have days. It is who we are called to be. It is our legacy to set forth an example of faith, words, and deeds of love and devotion that reflect the words written on that bed sheet 44 years ago, when we couldn't have known or truly appreciated their meaning, but all of life has culminated now in an opportunity to put them into practice and live them, as we've never been able to do in the past. And in so doing, we pay the greatest honor to those of our class in the long gray line who wait for us to join them in the shadows. There is no greater calling. There is no greater mission. There is no greater cause. There is no greater life. May the God of grace, who has brought us to this point in our walk with Him and with each other, help us to serve with integrity. Class assembly.